Good morning, everyone. So we're going to talk about this thing here. We have all nicely panels pulled off. So it's our Krone header. It's trifold 900 what is it, 900-3 FP. It's got the claws connection on it, or claws adaptation. So we're talking about a few things here. So this basically ripped this entire thing apart, took all the shields off the top. You can see them here, see them over there, a whole bunch over here, and I'll explain how that's all done. It's really easy. It's not too terrible to take apart, but there's something I'm going to show you guys to maybe check and just keep clean. So you can see in here in the chain where these two bolts are, I would keep that clean. If that builds up too much with dirt, then your sprockets will actually possibly start rubbing on the bottom on it here. I just clean it anyways. And then the very bottom of the chain too, underneath, in and around this roller here, and in behind here, down in here, underneath, and up here. And I cleaned it out. I did both wings. I did the center. The centers are kind of a pain. You gotta have two people. One person just turn the header backwards, and you can only get it like 3 pieces of the chain here. You can see 1, 2, maybe 3. And you can do some over here as well on this side. Clean it all out, check everything. So starting with the wings, I'll show you what I found. So I just found a few loose bolts here. These things down in here and there and here, and it holds this guide rail. This is that little guide rail for those rollers that run underneath. There's rollers on the bottom of this chain. They are, can we see them here somewhere? Maybe in the middle we can see them. Yeah, we can't see them. I should have put one wing halfway up. No, still can't see them. But, and then just check your sprockets for wear here. These black ones. You can see we have a little bit of wear in the teeth. Make sure you have a little bit of space here. I think the book says 1 to 3 mil or something. I'd have to look. Just make sure you don't have them too tight. Now, what I noticed this year was these have some pretty significant wear here in places. But this thing, when I got it and took it apart at the beginning of the year, this was not up to spec. This is how they tell you to have it, so it's just right at the edge of the washer. It was actually about a 1/4 inch backed off, so I'm going to back it off a little bit and leave it a little bit looser, because it looks like it's really wearing these sprockets here. And I don't know what that's from. I don't know if it's because these chains here, inside here, were all packed full of dirt in here or not. So I'm just going to back it down. I mean, it's probably not going to hurt it. 1/4 inch isn't very much. I mean, that's a pretty big spring that's on there. And you also probably can take these, once they wear too much, and move them 1 tooth. Because in here, you can see we have 1 pin touching that sprocket, 1 pin touching this sprocket over here, there. And in the middle, we still have nothing. So it probably uses every second one, is what I would think. And then I'm just going to check these 2 bolts here yet. I checked those bolts, those big ones, all 4 of them on the drive ones. So 1 on each drive there, and then 1 on each drive in the wings. I'm going to check those right away here. I haven't done that yet. These ones I'll check, these 8. On the wings, you can't get every single one because they're under the chain here. But all 4 of these that I could get were super tight. Couldn't even budge them, so I'm not worried about the rest. Should be good. Same with the center. I'll just check most of them. Make sure you check these bolts here on the wing. There's 5 of them. There's one little short guy and 4, and they were all, I got a little tweak out of them, and they say to check it every 10 hours. They tell you every 10 hours you're supposed to check those bolts. So what else? Oh yeah, those little roller things. So you can see, of course it's right in the middle. You can't see it. So hold on here. Hang on. Oh, let's girl underneath this thing so you can see them. There they are. They're up there. There's that roller. And just check them all. Make sure you grab each one and turn it. Just put your finger on it and spin it. You can get about half the wing underneath where it's on the back side, and then you'll have to turn your header a half a turn. All I did was just use a nice little paint marker and made a mark on them as I checked them, and they were all good. I would check all of these here all the way around on your pivot for your wing. Same with these up here. I would check all of them, like basically every bolt on this machine. And then when I was cleaning at the end of the season here, I did take these off. They're back on now already, these little triangle, well, they're kind of like triangle shields, and just cleaned in there, make sure everything was clean. There was a lot of dirt built up on top of the flat plate in there, right underneath the chain. So I cleaned that. And that would be here, hey? Then you can get in behind here and clean inside of there really nice. That little triangle shield's actually like right there somewhere. I see him, looks like I have to blow out some more. But there was a lot of stuff packed in here. And you can still see some stuff down in there on top of those skid plates and all that. I would clean all that up, blow all this off in here. You can see in this hole, there's a little black gearbox plug, a round one. Make sure they're in there. You can see that one's good. And over here on this gearbox, we can look down through here, and you can see that black plug is actually right here underneath. Make sure they're in there. Yeah, if you get pressure in a gearbox where your vent or wherever is plugged, then yeah, because I think your gearbox vent is right here underneath here, and if it's plugged, if you get too much pressure in there, you could blow that thing out. So I see I have to turn it a bit to check this one. But there was a lot of crap built up underneath this sprocket too, and there still is some in here. So I'm just going to get in here and blow this out real good. Both sides. Here too, I'll check this black plug. This one you can actually just stick your hand right here underneath, and you can feel it, so it's not bad. And you can see, I think that's the gearbox breather there, if I'm not mistaken. What else to tell you? Had some really short corn. You know, maybe when you're cutting, it was up here just about to the top of the bull bar, or shorter than the bull bar, so it wasn't very tall corn. I was taller than it, and once in a blue moon, about the middle of the day, would stick right here underneath, just stop. Same spot in the field for some reason. Had it about 5 times in a row. Same spot. Stop. Now what I didn't realize was Krone, that this little roller thing, it was actually stuck in here so much I had to come out and pull it out, and it was actually jammed in here. And I didn't notice it till now. But you have 2 sets of holes for this roller thing, and I see it's in position 2. So somebody has moved it down lower. Now I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they had a lot of short corn, and that's why they lowered it. I don't know. But if I come into problems with it next year, I know what I'm going to do. I will just lift that up and call it good. Make sure you grease it. I would check these bolts too on these pins. Put some grease in here and everything after you're done for the season. I wouldn't really wash this thing too much. I'm going to wash it, but I'm probably just going to give it a little light washing. I'll put all the shields back on. I'm not going to wash in here, because this is just a huge giant chain, and I'm sure it doesn't like water in it, so I'm not going to do that. Underneath the header, there's not too much to look at. I mean, this thing is sitting down on the ground, so, well, that's not on the ground, but I took this off, this little plate right here with this bolt here, and the bolt here. Took this off. This was actually completely full of mud. Well, not mud, but dirt and stuff, so clean that out. Then it won't rust your steel lines and stuff in there. And in here too, there's a little bit of corn garbage inside this, so I just blew it all out nice and clean. I'm going to check some of these bolts here on the bull bars, because they can kind of wiggle around. And I know you want to watch, especially on the end here, because this is pretty flimsy down on the end. So I just want to make sure and check them all, make sure they're all tight. I'll check all these bolts here, these 4. There's probably some on the opposite side. I see some nuts for them here. Make sure your latch is always tight down here, down there. You can adjust it if you have to. Make sure these bolts here don't fall out. So there's a little swivel when the header swivels, and there's a bolt here with a washer. but on the back side somewhere, yeah, on the back side on the bottom is like a support bolt on the inside here. Just make sure it's not missing, because I was missing one of them and I put it back in. And just anything, like there's a couple of bolts here, there, and underneath for your header latch and all that. Make sure that's all tight. Just check everything. These bolts here, these two and these two, actually adjust the scrapers right here. There's one scraper here and a scraper underneath, and you make your adjustments there. Same with when we put it together. There is an adjustment right here with an eye bolt, and that calls for a space adjustment here. And that piece actually sits right here in the center on the wing. That's on the wing. And that eye bolt actually goes here, and they ask for a certain distance between these teeth and that flat plate. And same across the front. They ask for the same thing. Every time you take this thing apart like I did, you have to redo all your adjustments. I don't know the center one here yet. You can see there's a bunch of shims here. And what you do is you put on this plate with a hole in it here, which covers the center section, and then that drum there goes on top with 4 bolts inside. From the inside, you just take that top little round cover off. 4 bolts on the inside lifts off. You know, take those little triangle pieces there, have to come off as well. You just take it all apart. It's not too hard. And then just make sure that, I don't know the spec for that yet. I'll have to check. And I'm guessing that it's just very little space to here. And I'll show you what's underneath. We have some wearing items here. So I don't imagine you want it too close. You probably want a little bit of room in there, just if that thing decides to wiggle and jiggle a bit, that it's not going to wear those out immediately fast. I imagine you don't need them right tight. You can see it only wears a little bit on the one spot, probably when it gets pushed or pulled to one side, and both of them are like that. So that's probably what that's for. And then there is all kinds of settings for your gaps and stuff on everything. And yeah. What else? I think that's all I can tell you. Oh, this thing, this center pivot here, your center divider point. Notice this is bent and broken on this side, and the other side is just bent. So just make sure you don't have any holes in any of these things underneath here, under the bottom. Same with your skid plates that your header skids on down the field. Either replace them or fix them if they have holes in them or they're worn out. You can see a little thing here. You want this nice and good and tight underneath. Let's see here. Where can I see that? Oh, there's one in the center here. Where's that thing? Here it is here. Of course, I can't see it either. Hang on. So on the back side, it's a cleaner basically, and it is, where's that darn thing? There it is there. And it's on the bottom knife tooth. Maybe I'll get underneath there and show you. Just make sure it's adjusted properly. We're at the back here. And you can see it there, this thing here. It's got a little hard surfaced edge. And just make sure that it cuts nicely, that there's no space in there. If you have to adjust it, adjust it. Looks like I might actually have to adjust this one. And I think that just keeps the chain clean. There might even be another one on the outside, I don't know. I'll wing this thing up a little bit. Or I'll probably just lift it straight up. I guess you don't want to have it at an angle if you're doing adjustments. I don't know what else to tell you. I really think that's it. I guess watch your divider points. They don't go and come loose, these bolts here. Let's check them. Check every bolt on this thing. And these were slightly loose. And those. And these just hold the shield on, but still. Just make sure everything looks good and tight and no cracks in the frame. You know, you don't want any of that kind of stuff. Yep. And that's about all I can tell you. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.